One of the most important parts of building an online business is contact management. Because when we have an online business, it's all about our traffic to leads to conversions and then serving our clients. And Kajabi is one of those platforms that just makes it so easy for us. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Kajabi is the fact that it is an all-in-one platform. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. No platform is. But what it does do is it allows us to be able to do so many different things and have it all in one so that it communicates seamlessly. When one thing happens here, we can easily have something else happen here and then connect the dots between. So I had recently one of you asked me this question and specifically asked for more information about the contact management. So I'm going to read that here and go into more information. Specifically, what they said was, I'm looking forward to understanding how Kajabi deals with an existing subscriber or member. For example, what happens if an existing member, paid user, or one with an existing account at our site purchases another offer or is granted one? What will be their user experience in such a scenario, and what happens in Kajabi in the back end? Well, great question. I am so glad you asked that question, and we are going to address that in this video. All right, I'm going to share my screen and we are going to go into my practice account so that I'm not showing anything very specific that I have to worry about you guys seeing. Okay. All right, here we are sharing our screen. This is under the contacts tab. Now, what's really cool in Kajabi, like I said, is that the contact management, we have one place that we can go to see all of our contacts, and then we can drill down deeper to be able to know exactly what's going on with that contact. So, for example, you can see that these two have a blue check mark next to them, which means that they either have purchased or were granted access to a product, meaning that they are more than just a lead, they typically have access to a product. Now, depending on how you are using your Kajabi account, sometimes people will use offers for a free opt-in. Generally speaking, and this goes into some other more advanced videos that we can talk about later, where there's some strategies behind how you may not want to do it that way, where you have them fill out a form and then we use automations to get them access to what they need to. But essentially, generally speaking, you can see at a glance what is going on with these people. You can see if they're subscribed or if they have unsubscribed or what their status is. You can see what their last activity was. And then we can drill down deeper. So if we go into a contact, for example, it's going to bring up this tab where we'll be able to see what tags are connected to that person and things like that. And then you can click up here to open full profile. And then we can go into a lot more detail. So we can then see the life cycle, like what exactly is the most recent things that have happened, what emails were recently sent, what forms have they filled out, what offers have they purchased. We can go into info, and then this is going to be all info on what they may have filled out on a form. So if there were additional form fields that they may have filled out, you may be able to see that here or under the details. So we could go under edit details up above, and then we can see any of the custom form fields and anything that is related to that particular contact. And we can also see what purchases that they've made, what products that they have access to. And this is a hidden little feature that a lot of times is overlooked in Kajabi. There is a notes section here. So I and my team use this a lot because if something happens with this person, so for example, they ask for a extension on a payment plan, or if they are granted access with a coupon code and we want to make sure that we follow up with them on something, or something that we need another team member, or that you want to remind yourself about something that was discussed, you can always go in here and have it under the client notes so we know what's going on. So later on, if we refunded, we're not wondering why we refunded or why this coupon code was used or why this product was granted access. You can always then go into the notes section and then it shows up so that you can see this at any time, or your team, anybody else who has access to your Kajabi can then see these things. You also have the more actions, where this is then where you can delete the contact if you want to, and also grant access to various offers. So there's a lot of management that can happen in here. Now, going back to the question about what happens inside Kajabi. Well, that is the real true power in Kajabi, is because when someone purchases an offer, fills out a form, owns a product, gets a tag added, uses a coupon, all of that information that that person has addressed, as long as it's under the same name and email address, is all going to then combine and be a part of that person's contact profile. So you'll be able then to see what is going on with that person based on what offers, what purchases, what forms, all through their contact profile. What happens behind the scenes will then depend on what automations that you have triggered through the form and or offer that is associated with what they filled out or purchased. So the question was, what happens if someone purchases and then they purchase something else? How does that impact behind the scenes? Well, as long as they use the same name and email address, or namely email address, not necessarily even name, it goes by email address. So if the email address is the same, it will then add that information to that person's contact and will trigger whatever automations are associated with that particular contact. So if they've purchased a product or filled out a form, for example, let's just start there. Say they filled out one of your lead magnet forms, and you have an automation in the form to subscribe to an email sequence, which is your nurture email sequence. So now they have on in Kajabi, there's a trigger that says subscribe to email sequence, and those emails will start going out from the time that they filled out the form and based on the timing that you have in the email sequence. So say you have they filled out the form and then it's send an email day 0, day 1, day 3, day 5, however it is that you set up that nurture email sequence. And of course, it's a nurture email sequence. So we're encouraging that person to purchase and or join or become a client or engage with you in some way. So then what we can do is we have then links to the sales page or to your offer or to the next step in your client journey. Inside the offer, when they then purchase, they will then have triggered any automations that are going on inside that offer. So now, once they purchased, they will get the trigger for whatever tags, they'll get granted access to the product that goes along with that offer, and they'll get triggered the email sequence that you have in the automations for that offer. So here is your advanced tip that goes along with that. Generally speaking, once they've purchased, especially if that's what you're trying to get them to do is purchase a specific offer, then any of those offers that are related to getting them to do what you want them to do in your nurture sequence, it's a good rule of thumb to include in your offer automations an automation to unsubscribe from the nurture sequence so that they don't continue to get emails on the nurture email sequence that is getting them to purchase, because you know that this happens to you probably several times in the past where you purchase something and then all of a sudden you're still getting emails that say, hey, register for my event or buy my program. And you're like, but I'm already in the program. So this is where it's that extra next level of using the tools that are inside Kajabi, is that because Kajabi knows that this person just purchased, it doesn't know what you wrote in those emails though. So we have to at least tell it through the automations to be able to say, great, they now did what we told them to do. So now unsubscribe from the nurture sequence or the sales sequence that's getting them to take that next step. And then we can do this on various levels. So you can then get as creative as you want to be within the automations and the sequences to be to tell the system what you want to have happen. So that's why if you look at the automations, it'll have things like deregister from event or unsubscribe from sequence or remove a tag. So this allows you then to use those automations, the tags, the sequences, the offers, all of the different things that you have in there so that you're customizing that user experience, because the next thing that they do, whatever automations it will then stack on top of or remove based on whatever you have the automation set up. So my big tip on this then to really help you with contact management and then how you set it up in Kajabi, because I don't want this to sound overwhelming, like, okay, but how do I even know what automations to do? Or how do I know what's been done and what hasn't? Well, just the best thing that I can recommend there is map it out. So if you have a whiteboard or a project management type of software, we use Miro. You can use any different type of mind mapping type software or even just a piece of paper where you map out the client journey and you basically just say, okay, so here's our lead magnet, here's our offer, here's our product, what happens next and what is triggered. And that way, then you know exactly what you need to then make sure is in the automations if you want to unsubscribe because you want to make sure that they're not getting those sales after they purchased. The other thing you can do if you have lots of offers and it's the situation where you have a more complex system and you have lots of offers and you have lots of lead magnets and you have all of these different things that are going on and it's really hard to keep track of, okay, which lead magnet are they getting into and how do I make sure that I don't have a whole list of 15 automations of unsubscribe, 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 and all of these different things? You can simplify that by consolidating and using tags. So you can have an automation that says when tag is added, unsubscribe. And then you can have the lists of the unsubscribes on the tag automation rather than on the offer. And that way it consolidates and it makes it much easier. So then all you have to do on the offer is say, add this tag. And then we have when this tag is added, then we want to unsubscribe. And you can have multiple automations to unsubscribe when that tag is added. That way, then you never have to worry about which automations, which email sequences, and you're not missing one. But there again, it's just keeping that map list organization. It's just making sure you know behind the scenes what you've built and what is out there so that we don't end up with a mess down the road. So that would be my high level tip, my pro tip for you if you've been doing this for a while and you're not quite sure if you're using it well and maximizing, those would be some of the things to kind of to go back and check on. If you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out how to use Kajabi and what goes where and what's going on in the back end, hopefully that cleared things up for you a little bit where you can see when somebody does something in Kajabi, it does then connect. Now, the other question that's often asked next is, okay, then what happens if they don't use the same email address? That is a great question. But essentially, if someone doesn't use the same email address, Kajabi treats them like a whole brand new contact. So they will have whatever automations, forms, offers that they purchased on that other profile. So you may have more than one profile essentially for the same person. Now, the cool thing is you can go into Kajabi and you can merge contacts. So if someone contacts you on customer support and they're like, I purchased this offer through this email, but then I purchased this offer through this email and I can't keep track which email I'm supposed to use to log in. We get that one a lot. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of how it works. Sometimes it just happens because all of us have multiple email addresses, or you have an old email address that is from a previous employment and it is no longer valid. Things like that happen. So essentially what you can do is you can go in and you can merge contacts and you just have to make sure you know what is the primary that the client really does want to use on their primary profile. Because when you go into merge contacts, it will be telling you this is the one, it's going to overwrite this one, and then that one just goes away. And so just confirm with the client which email address that they want to use as their primary, and it will merge everything. So the products, automations, tags, everything then gets merged into one. So they only have one login. So hopefully that is helpful for you on understanding a little bit more behind the scenes on contact management, how powerful it is, how valuable that is to have it all inside Kajabi and connected within the internal ecosystem so that we can really drill down on each contact and make sure things don't get slipped through the cracks, that we don't have people getting multiple emails and getting them to do the same thing when they've already done it. If you don't have Kajabi yet, I encourage you to check out the link below in the description with our affiliate partner link. We are always giving some amazing bonuses specifically for those of you who sign up through Kajabi through our link. And we also have some really cool exclusive promotions that are available only through Kajabi partners. Sometimes they run some really great promotions that will be only available through partners. Sometimes it's special discounts and extended trial periods. So definitely check out the link, see what the latest is that's available through our partner link. And then we always add a special bonus where you get access to our signature program conversion code and Kajabi mentorship. And if you're not a member yet, definitely check that out, because this is a incredibly supportive community that gives you really detailed support. We have weekly live coaching sessions. We have all kinds of really fantastic tutorials, checklists, all of those things. Our goal inside our conversion code community and Kajabi mentorship is to help you monetize faster and really grow your business to the level that you want to take it. So check that out. Also in the description, I invite you to join us inside the community. We keep it incredibly economical for anybody and everybody. And I can't wait to greet you inside our community. If you want to know more about Kajabi emails and email sequences, check out this video where we go deeper into Kajabi emails so that you understand the automations and the triggers and how email sequences, broadcasts, and the different types of emails inside Kajabi works, so you can combine the power of contacts with email strategy all inside your Kajabi account.